5 projects from 0 to 100,000 organics a month without building backlinks, praying to the Google gods, or doing technical BS. And so there might be better content in email or a YouTube video, but you can ignore all of those. Really, what you're just trying to do is beat the first 3 results in terms of value that you create. And the reason that we're super focused on content quality is because we think that the #1 ranking factor in the Google algorithm isn't backlinks or technical stuff, it's user engagement metrics. It's do good work, document that good work, distribute the documentation. ChatGPT and these AI tools allow anyone to create huge volumes of content, tens of thousands of pages of content very quickly. And so Google search results are going to be flooded with really poor AI spam. Google is actively working on de-indexing and de-ranking sites that use AI. So,
alternate profession could have been?
Criminal.
Hello, fellows. Welcome to the next episode of Jagged with Jasravee. Subscribe to my channel for conversations at the edge with thought leaders from the branding, marketing, and the business world. Conversations that ignite new ideas that have rough and sharp edges. Hello, Nicholas. So nice to have you on my show.
Hey, thank you so much. I've been looking forward to it all week.
Yay. Okay, if I requested you to tweet your profile, what would you say?
I would say I've taken 5 projects from 0 to 100,000 organics a month without building backlinks, praying to the Google gods, or doing technical BS.
That's just awesome, because I know how much digital marketers, struggle trying to simplify in their own head what they're really doing and then deliver results, and so let's figure out how you really did it. For my audiences, for all small businesses, they can start implementing it from tomorrow, and that's awesome.
That's fantastic. If you go ahead and Google ranking factors, you're going to see blog posts from folks like Brian Dean, who says there's over 200 ranking factors, and that makes SEO sound really inaccessible. But in the next, 30 to 60 minutes, you're going to learn about the handful of ranking factors that actually matter.
Okay. So, Nicholas, when you talked about the projects that you grew, the organics, why don't you share with us how you did that? Like you grew do not pay from 0 to 15 lakhs organic views per month. So I converted it for my Indian audiences. What is your process for taking these 4 projects that you talked about to this kind of organic views per month?
Yeah. So we've taken 5 projects from 0 to 100,000 organics, but the biggest has gone from 0 to 1.5 million organics, or 0 to 15 lakhs organics per month. And we didn't build any backlinks. We didn't do any technical BS. And so all the SEOs listening are going to be like, no backlinks and no technical stuff. Well, what did you do? And it's pretty simple. So we created the most valuable page of content Google could show for the keywords that we want to rank for, and do that at scale. And it's really those 2 things. Create a page of content that's more valuable than any other page Google could show, and then do that a bunch.
So could you elaborate on this when you said more valuable than any other page? What does that really mean? And what does that really mean for Google? And what does that really mean for content creators?
Absolutely. So how valuable a piece of content is dynamic, and it depends on what Google's currently showing. And so there might be better content in email or a YouTube video, but you can ignore all of those. Really, what you're just trying to do is beat the first 3 results in terms of value that you create. And the reason that we're super focused on content quality is because we think that the #1 ranking factor in the Google algorithm isn't backlinks or technical stuff, it's user engagement metrics. Things like time on site, pages visited, return visits, branded searches, overall site engagement. And it makes sense because when you look at all of the major platforms, you have TikTok, you have LinkedIn, you have Facebook, you have Instagram, and then you have YouTube. everyone knows that they use user engagement metrics to influence reach, right? These platforms will show your content to a little bit of people, and depending on how it does, they'll show it to more people. And it would be crazy to me if Google, the world's most innovative big data company, who's using user engagement metrics on YouTube, wasn't using their access to Chrome, Google Analytics, and Android to detect users on the website and then use that to rank them.
So engagement metrics, and there are so many of them. Which are the key metrics that really matter typically? What are the 3-4 engagement metrics that you would say really matter?
I'll focus on written content through organic search because that's where I'm kind of the best at. There's lots of good YouTube guys. They're not here on the podcast today, though. You got me. So the first very important metric is click-through rate. So when Google displays your website in the search results, how many people actually go on to click your website? If you're in position, let's say you're on the second half of the first page, but everyone scrolls down and clicks you, that tells Google, hey, maybe you belong up higher on the first page and we should try you in positions 1 to 3. The next most important engagement factor is bounce rate. After someone hits your content, how often do they hit back and then go to another option in the search results? Because that's an indicator that they didn't find what they were looking for when they found you. The third would be time on site. Once you land on the web page, how much time do you spend consuming the content? And then finally, something like pages visited. And a good number for these metrics is dynamic based off of the keyword that people are searching. So, for example, a recipe site might have a different average bounce rate and a different good bounce rate versus a B2B SaaS website. Mm-hmm. So it's dynamic. You don't have to beat everybody in bounce rate and pages visited. You have to beat the other pages Google could show for the keywords that you're trying to rank for.
How did you figure this out, Nicholas?
That's a great question. So it was totally by accident. I was working on my first SEO project where I grew the agency I was working for. I grew their blog from 0 to 100,000 organics a month. Very first time I've done SEO. And I ended up outranking Instagram for Instagram support. And I ended up ranking right below Shopify for Shopify support. And I ended up ranking above Shopify for Shopify safe. And I ended up with all these page 1 positions. Now, to be fair, these things did not create any money for the agency that I was working at, but they did inform every page of content I go on to publish over the last 4 or 5 years, which is approaching 15,000 pages of content my team has produced. The way that I figured this out is that when I looked at why I was outranking Instagram, it doesn't make any sense for a page on a random agency talking about how to contact Instagram support to outrank Instagram. But when I started analyzing the pages, I saw a couple things that would go on to inform my opinion. So the first is when you looked at Instagram's URL for their page on Instagram support, it was a bunch of gobbledygook. It was a bunch of numbers and letters, and it didn't really actually say the word Instagram support. And then when you landed on the page, they didn't make much use of H1s. There wasn't much content on the page. And so they didn't have very strong relevance to the word Instagram support. We beat them there. And then finally, the experience was pretty quick. You land on the Instagram support page, you can very quickly find out that Instagram can't support you. There's no support. So let's talk about the page that we wrote that outranked Instagram support. If you looked at our URL, it said Instagram support in it. If you looked at our H1, it said Instagram support. Our H2 said Instagram phone number, Instagram contact email, and then we had a bunch of content in there. My conclusion is that we gave users a false hope that we knew how to contact Instagram support and that they would spend more time on site, they would visit more pages than the actual Instagram page itself.
You're also giving hope to a lot of digital marketers that they can figure out things on their own. That it's actually, it has been overcomplicated and too jargonized, but actually if you are at it, the learning curve can be sharper.
Yeah, and in actuality, this approach to SEO is very powerful because if it's really all about content quality, it means you own all of the success factors that will drive the outcome. There's no praying to the Google gods. There's no hopes and prayers you own content quality, which means you can control your destiny. And this is a much better approach to Google than a hacky framework, because with the question, what's best for the user, you can answer almost any question that comes up throughout the course of the SEO campaign, even if you haven't seen that scenario before. Whereas if the Google algorithm relies on all this hacky stuff, you don't really have a framework for making decisions.
Okay, so what is your keyword research process? And we will come to good content and across mediums, what it means. What is your keyword research process, and how do you do keyword analysis for competitors?
Yeah, it's fairly unique. So we noticed that there's a problem with the major keyword research tools like Ahrefs, SEMrush, and Ubersuggest. You type in a keyword, let's say it's SaaS analytics, and you're going to get back thousands and thousands and thousands of keywords representing tens of thousands of searches a month. And that's where the tools start to break. If I asked you, hey, how many pages of content should we create to rank for all of the ways that people are searching for SaaS analytics? You go, Nick, I have no idea, because I don't know which keywords go on which pages together. And so we built a clustering tool called ClusterAI. It's now used by 4,500 SEOs, including people like Deal and a bunch of other big brands. And what it does is you dump in a list of, let's say, 10 to 30,000 keywords from Ahrefs. It will actually scrape Google for each keyword, and it will index the top 10 results. And then it will compare those top 10 results to another keyword. And if there's enough websites in common, it will actually group those keywords together as keywords that can rank on the same page together. And what you get back is a deliverable. It has every single topic that you'll ever create throughout the course of the campaign as the main keyword, all the variations, and then the total search volume for the page. Okay, so let's say that we're working at a website called Raycon, and we sell earbuds, and we want to rank for all the ways that people are searching earbuds. Well, when we ask Ahrefs to tell us all the ways that people are searching for earbuds, what we get back is a list of 319,000 keywords representing 5 million searches a month. Now, this is where SEO is broken. If I said, hey, how many pages of content do we need to create to rank for all of the ways that people are searching for earbuds? Nobody knows, because they don't know if wireless earbuds is a separate page than earbuds, and whether you should create one page about earbuds and wireless earbuds, or you should create 2 pages. Best wireless earbuds, is that a 3rd page? Or can best wireless earbuds, and earbuds all rank together on one page? Well, the way that you find out is you actually Google it. So best wireless earbuds, and we'll search earbuds. Yep. Earbuds. Now, to figure out whether these are variations of the same keyword, or you need to write 2 completely separate pieces of content to rank for both of these, is you look at the first page search results and you look at how many results are in common. If enough websites or web pages rank for both earbuds and best wireless earbuds, then you can also rank for both keywords with one page. But if you look at the search results and best wireless earbuds is completely different search results than wireless earbuds or earbuds, then you would need to create 2 pages of content to rank for both. Now, ClusterAI, what it does is it basically crawls Google, it scrapes it, and it groups keywords that can rank together. And so what you get back is something that looks like this. It's the main keyword, it's every variation of the main keyword, and it's the total search volume. And now you know every single page of content that you'll go on to publish over the course of the campaign. So it kind of removes the SEO skill necessary from optimizing pages. There's a lot of follow-up information on like my blog, and you know, there's a lot to cover today, so I don't want to go too deep into it, but that's how I do keyword research. So what most SEOs will do is they'll go in and they'll just make stuff up. I think earbuds and wireless earbuds and earbuds can rank together, and really to figure it out, you have to Google all 3 keywords, look at the results in common, and if there's enough, they can, but if there's not, then they can't. And so with 319,000 keywords, you can't Google every keyword and compare the results. So people just start shooting from the hip, they shoot from the gut, and they just make it up as they go along, and oftentimes they're wrong. So ClusterAI just use data from Google to figure out which keywords can rank together, and then it groups them into discrete pages.
It's not just a quantitative analysis, it's also qualitative, because it's not just about number of searches that are happening around the keyword, but also, how the content is grouping around it. So
Yeah.
in that sense, it's more comprehensive and it's more consumer based.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So you were talking about we were talking about Google and how your vision and Google vision match. So if you could share your understanding of how Google works and what it likes.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, I think that whenever I explain Google's behavior, I try and avoid to stay away from technical terms. I try and use business logic. So let me give you an example. One of the other ranking factors I've seen is something called topical authority, and basically what it is how much content you've published on a particular subject. Now, if Google's trying to determine who's more authoritative in, let's say, about pet fish, is it the people who have published 10 pages about pet fish, or is it the people who have published 1,000 pages about pet fish? From the simple nature of creating 1,000 pages of content about pet fish and the massive amount of resources this would require, Google has to think, well, this website probably has a business model that customers like, because this is a massive investment to make about pet fish, and they wouldn't be able to do it unless they had some sort of expertise and some sort of business model related to pet fish. In 2023, anyone can create a 20 or 30 page website over a weekend. I think that Google has this barrier where if you want to rank for the highest value commercial driven keywords, Google's not going to allow you to rank for those keywords until you have a lot of content supporting those keywords on the topic. And the example I always use is that if Google gave first page rankings for high value commercial keywords to anyone with a 30-page website, two things would happen. First is Google would send a lot of their traffic to scammers, right? Because anyone can make a 30-page website over the weekend. You'd have all these scammers around the world trying to screw over us rich Americans with their scam websites. And so Google would lose trust with its user if it showed any 30-page website for high-value commercial keywords. The second piece of this is that if any 30-page website could rank for high-value commercial keywords, then there would be so much fluctuation in the search results, because every weekend 1,000 new people have created a 30-page website, and they just took your keywords that you got last week when you created your 30-page website. And so going back to what works really well in Google, it's creating the best page of content they could show for the keywords you want to rank for, and then doing that 1,000 times a year.
So consistency, it's going to look for consistency and a regular frequency. And oh my God, it's wise.
So if there's any SEOs listening to you that may have gotten penalized by a Google update, or they're trying to get into SEO and it's not really working, the very first thing that I would look at is your content quality.
And when you say content quality, let's come to that also, because you've also talked about outsourcing and scaling quality content without too many resources. For example, 4 to 40 blogs a month. And I know it's so tough, and one can hire content writers, just like you're saying, over a weekend, this can happen. One can have a full team at it, because content is so important to engage today, especially for D2C platforms. So what is good value content?
It's tough to say. And again, it's because it's dynamic. When I talk about good quality content, I talk about in the context of a specific keyword. So if we're talking about, let's say, keto brownie recipes, good quality content will mean something different than B2B SaaS pricing examples. And it's just literally in the context of what Google's already showing. It's not a context of what's the best page of content on YouTube, or the best video on YouTube, or the best email ever. It's literally just what's currently ranking. Read them, figure out what they're missing, and then add that, so you're creating more value for the reader.
So on the topic, the expectation that the topic is creating, how much quality information is being given in layman terms is good value. If you're promising something and the person is coming, so you better give all that value in a superior way or superior value And
That's
the
exactly
key,
right.
yeah, and the keyword is actually an indicator of, without getting into the article, the keyword is indicating what you would find there, and it better live up to the promise.
Yeah, it's called search intent. And search intent is basically if Google's using UX metrics to evaluate whether one page is more helpful than another, then knowing who your audience is so important, because if you know who they are, you know what they want, and you know what they want to know next. And that's a super easy way to beat the first page search results, is just think about the searcher, the problems they're facing, who they are, and what they'll need to know next after you inform them and help them with the thing that they originally searched for.
So tell me, because I'm working on nutraceuticals, currently consulting, and it is condition-based nutraceutical, right?
Yeah.
If you have to decide content, how would you go about it?
Yeah, definitely. So going back to our keyword research, we're going to ask Ahrefs all the ways that people search for nutraceutical and nutraceuticals. And there's 10,000 keywords representing 53,000 searches a month. So I would stop here, I'd export this, and I'd import it into my tool, ClusterAI. And this would give you back a list of topics that you'll create, along with the main keyword, the total search volume, and then all the variations that you're going to use in your content. So that's what I would do on the research side. And then now you can plan your content calendar with a bird's eye view of every single page you'll ever publish throughout the lifespan of your nutraceuticals campaign. Then the next thing that we do is we do interviews with stakeholders. So before we start writing the first word of publishable content, we'll produce about 10 to 20 pages of stuff we call enablement documentation. And enablement documentation allows you to hold your content team accountable to talking about things in a specific way. And if it's done well, it's able to take all of the strong opinions that the stakeholders have and enable those content writers without that background in order to speak like a stakeholder. And so I would sit down with you and I'd ask you a million questions. It would take 1 to 2 hours. And what I'd come up with is about 10 pages on the industry, your company, why people choose you, why the industry's broken and you're here to save it. And then I would do that same thing under maybe a subtopic of nutraceuticals.
Right. And also about the consumer, right? That like you said, what are their pain points, and also maybe what competitors are giving, and where's the need gap, and you can give
the consumers are definitely a stakeholder in this conversation. And so if the internal stakeholders within the organization don't understand the consumer like the back of their hand, then I would invite some consumers to help with these customer interviews to create this enablement documentation. And the reason enablement documentation is so important is because you can't hold people accountable to something unless it's written down. Even if they want to be held accountable to it, they'll just forget, or they'll hear it differently, or they'll have a million things to do and they just, forget. And so before the first word of publishable content is written, create 10 to 20 pages about everything the stakeholders know.
Yeah. So when you hire content writers, what are you looking for?
Content writers are very hard to hire, and there's a couple different reasons. There's 2 or 3 primary reasons. The first is that content writing is the lowest barrier work from home job, which means everyone with a job that they don't like, a crummy job, is applying as a content writer because it's the easiest job to work from home with. And so that means that 95% of the people applying to be a content writer are not qualified to be content writers. In America, according to the Department of Education, 54% of Americans have below an 8th grade reading level. And so even hiring in America isn't going to help you find more qualified candidates. Even if you pay $1 a word, it's not going to help you find more qualified candidates because all the people with crummy jobs want to write from home for $1 a word. The second thing that makes hiring content writers hard is that it's never been easier for content writers to lie in their portfolio. What we see is that content writers give us this portfolio content that's actually really good. What they didn't tell us is that it's gone through a third-party editor who completely rewrote the content and then fired them because it was so bad. And now they're running around claiming this other person's work as their own. And so you will hire them, you get bad content, and then you fire them. And so even the people with good portfolios are bad writers. And so between how many and then there's just hundreds of people. And so we built a solution called Workello. It's a talent assessment platform. And it basically allows you to put in hundreds and hundreds of content writing candidates and very easily test them and then figure out who's actually good and who is lying on their portfolio.
Oh, that's amazing. So test at scale.
Test at scale.
Nice. And choose the best. Oh, that's
Yeah.
That's a real solution.
It works really good. It works really good. We've helped evaluate more than 30,000 candidates and hire over 500 writers. And that's like a 2% pass rate.
Okay, awesome. That's awesome. That really solves a need. How do you build email lists of subscribers by posting on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter?
Over the last 2 years, I've built up a 10,000 person email list. I have about 8,000 members in my content community, and I've gotten around 1 million impressions on LinkedIn this year. Okay, so here's what I do. I've optimized my LinkedIn headline to drive clicks to my profile. When I comment on LinkedIn and when I create content, what people see is 0 to 1.5 million organics in 24 months. And that's a compelling number. People really want to find out how I did that. And what they do is they click my profile, and I've turned my LinkedIn profile into a landing page. You can see the headline, another, fat graph, big number. I said something very contrarian, no backlinks, no technical BS, just great content. I have my little, link down here to the case study. But if you miss it and you keep on scrolling, I have another link down to the case study. And if you don't click that, I have another link to the case study. And so what ends up happening is that I create a lot of noise on social. People see the headline, they click through the profile, they click through the case study, and the case study is about 6,000 words of actually how we did it. It's very tactical, step-by-step implementation. You should go check it out if you're listening to this podcast, contentdistribution.com/SEO-case-study. And when they read this article, by the time they get to the end, they think, hey, Nick's the best in the world at SEO, and this is the only approach that works. And if I can't afford to hire Nick, I need his tools and his SaaS products, Workello and ClusterAI. And then throughout the content, there's calls to action. Hey, jump on my email list to get this resource. Hey, follow me on YouTube to get more in-depth information. Hey, join my community to engage with other people like you. And so people start on LinkedIn, or they start on Twitter, or they start on Facebook, and then I end up syndicating their attention to all the platforms that I'm currently on.
So you really know the mindset of the person who's coming and what they're seeking. So you incentivize.
I know my audience. I know what they want to hear. I know what they want to know next. I know their beliefs and their disbeliefs and kind of their pain points and their challenges. And I can basically craft very compelling messaging that like screams in their face, I got to click this. And if you look at like my agency, I can give away almost all the information for free because my agency only needs 10 customers to make me very successful.
Okay. So how to measure impact of SEO? And what are some common mistakes?
Yeah, so the number one most common mistake is people don't filter out branded traffic. Now, what ends up happening is that, you're working with a brand and they're spending money on Facebook ads. And for whatever reason, I don't know why this happens, but people they'll see a Facebook ad and they won't click it, they'll Google it. And so you end up seeing all of this branded searches, and your SEO person you hired, who is probably a scammer, is like, yeah, that's me. I did that. And so when you're evaluating your SEO, you need to set up filters in Google Analytics that disallow any page that will appear for a branded term. So that's your homepage, that's your contact page, that's your partner page, that's your pricing page, it's your login page. Sign up, anything that will appear when you type in your brand, do not let your SEO include those pages in your report.
Any other mistakes people make when they are looking at impact of SEO?
Yeah, so I wouldn't call it a mistake, but I'll say that one of the leading factors of success is impressions in Google Search Console. If your SEO is telling you, hey, it's working, clicks are going to come, but just not yet, you have to wait. What you should see in Google Search Console is an increasing amount of impressions that your website appears for in the first 10 pages of Google search. Not ranks on the first page, but Google will tell you how many impressions, how many times did a user make a search and your website appeared somewhere in the 10 page. If that's not going up, you're not going to get the clicks.
So when you say exceptional content, this ties to what you were talking about, create great value for your consumer, right?
In order to create exceptional B2B content, you have to be exceptional. Like B2B content requires a strong opinion and it requires expertise to be good. You know, Alex Hormozy just had a video where he says, hey, if I told you how to build an Instagram social media agency, and then I said, hey, my Instagram social media agency makes $2,000 a month, well, instantly he just discredited and disqualified himself because he only makes $2,000 a month. He's not qualified to teach it. But if his Instagram agency makes $1 million a month, now everything that he says, even if it's the exact same thing, is 1,000,000 times more credible. And so first, in order to create exceptional B2B content, you have to get exceptional results in some area of aspect of what you're doing. Then you can create the exceptional content and then you can go be loud about it. In terms of being loud, I think it's all, you know, one big tip for the LinkedIn algorithm is if you just create content for LinkedIn and you don't give your newsfeed engagement, LinkedIn won't give you much engagement. So what I see is that when I spend 30 minutes a day engaging with the content on my newsfeed, my own content performs a lot better. You know, you get what you give it. And so hopefully that answered your question. I can attribute every dollar I've ever earned in my companies to social and the strategies that we described today. Do good work, document that good work, distribute the documentation.
What is the future of search? Crystal ball gaze, Nick, and tell us, what are your views on that?
So Google has $1 trillion problem right now with ChatGPT. ChatGPT and these AI tools allow anyone to create huge volumes of content, you know, tens of thousands of pages of content very quickly. And so Google search results are going to be flooded with really poor AI spam. Google is actively working on de-indexing and de-ranking sites that use AI. So a lot of the people who are listening today, they might have heard, hey, I need to publish a lot of content. I can't afford a content team. I'll use AI. Don't do that. You're going to get penalized. You're going to get slapped. Your website traffic will get ruined. Do not do it for your clients. I think it's likely they'll have some sort of ChatGPT 3 interface. It's not clear how they're going to put the ads in. You know, if they went from 3 ads per result to 1 ad per result, their revenue would get cut in half by 66% overnight. And so they kind of have this innovator's dilemma where OpenAI can make $1 billion a year, $10 billion a year, and they're gonna love it. But if Google made $10 billion a year, they just lost 90% of their revenue.
So why is it penalizing? What is the reason? Why does it not want AI generated content?
Generally, AI content isn't so good. It's just not as good as human written content today. And then again, it just allows anyone to flood the search results with tens and tens of thousands of pages of content. Google doesn't want people to abuse it. And if one guy in Nebraska is able to create 10,000 bad pages about fish, well, he's actively harming Google's users' search experience.
Mixed views on that. Mixed feelings on that. Because I think the way out is that AI is used as a tool and not as a core content generator. You know, like it does one level of work and then human beings can build on it, or they can do, like AI can do one part of it. Maybe AI can be used better by human beings rather than just delegating it to AI.
You would think, but I mean, that's what you and I think, but there's a lot of people in marketing that are drawn to make money online fast, and they don't share the same viewpoint me and you do. What they're thinking is, how do I exploit this thing as
Yeah,
easy as
yeah.
possible, make as much money as possible without
Yeah.
any regards for anything else.
This is literally rapid fire.
Oh my gosh.
So
Don't show.
exactly, yes. So Nick, I'm going to shoot the question. You shoot the answer. If the answer takes time, if you elaborate, or if you think, I'm going to shoot here with the gun.
Okay.
Yes? You
Perfect.
ready? Let's see how you do.
Let's see.
Okay. Mother's best advice.
I just want you to be happy, sweetie.
Nice. Alternate profession could have been?
Criminal.
Oh no. Oh
It was
God.
either criminal or entrepreneur, and I got lucky being born in Seattle.
Oh my God. Okay. That's a unique answer. What would you do on Mars for fun?
Oh man, that's tough. Probably just die.
Okay. One thing no one knows about you.
Oh man, that's tough. All right. I was in special education classes for the first 11 years of school. For basically my entire schooling career, I was in special education.
Okay. 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 What would you tell your 18-year-old self?
Oh man, get fit when you're 18, not when you're 35.
Okay. What's something new happening in your life right now?
I moved to Europe.
That's new. What's your greatest joy?
I like working with smart, passionate people doing hard things.
What's a lesson that took you a long time to learn?
Careers are measured in decades, not months or years. All the value comes at the end. So really, it's all about the 5 or 10-year plan, and don't make short-term moves.
Okay, so it's a wrap up, Nick. I request you to share any online addresses, any emails through which audiences can reach out to you.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah.
The link should be in the description, but if you're listening, it's youtube.com, content distribution.com, workello.com, and then our Facebook group, Fat Graph Content Ops. You're such a good host. I felt so comfortable. I had a great time today. I told you I've been looking forward to it all week, and I'm really glad it went so well. So you should definitely subscribe, and follow to catch, the next big Jordan.
Yay. Great. Thank you so much, Nick.